Dear students, welcome to INSIGHT Academy Super Platinum course once again. Today is the Class 3 of Ancient India NCERT, that is 11th class Old NCERT. As always, I'll connect you with previous class. I'll tell you the chapters to be covered in today's class, and then we'll move ahead with the concepts one by one. The chapters are 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18. Chapter number 13 is dealing with the state and Varna society in the age of Buddha. What was the nature of a state? What was a form of society? What was Varna? We'll see that part today. The age of Mauryans or Mauryan Empire. Significance of the Maurya rule. So Mauryas or Mauryans, that's a way of reading it. The most common form is Mauryan. The NCERT uses Maurya. So English, it becomes Mauryan. So Mauryans, Mauryan rule. Central Asian contacts and their results. Central Asian contact means through Indo-Greeks, Sakas and Kushanas. Age of Satavahanas. Satavahanas were a ruling dynasty, ruling family in Deccan in the post-Mauryan times. And the dawn of history in Deep South, that is Sangam age. Sangam age, few details we have discussed in one of the previous classes. More we'll see in today's class. The first major development in 6th century BC or in the age of Buddha was coinage. For the first time in Indian history, coins were issued. So before this, or before 6th century BC, there was no coin system in India. So if question comes, when were the coins issued for the first time? Answer is 6th century BC, or in the age of Buddha, or in the age of Mahavira, or in the age of Mahajanpadas. Meaning of all these three terms is the same, 6th century BC. What kind of coins were issued? The earliest coins were known as punch-marked coins. These were simple pieces of silver, commonly, at times copper, and some symbols were punched on them. Have a look here. These are silver coins and some symbols have been punched. Symbol could be like arrow here. Symbol could be like a sun here. Symbol could be of the tree, of animals, hill, river, moon. So these kind of symbols are punched, and that is why these were known as punched marked coins. So punch marked coins. These punch marked coins were mostly made of silver, and some coins were made of copper also. So punch marked coins were the earliest coins. What was the system before beginning of coinage? In earlier times, when coins were not there, economic transactions used to take place by way of exchange, and that is known as barter system. Barter system means if you have some good, some item with you, you can give that to me and I can give something that I produce. So it was exchange of goods, barter system. In later Vedic age, some terms like Nishka and Shatmana are mentioned. Nishka and Shatmana were ornaments, and these ornaments were used in later Vedic age for big transactions. Nishka was a gold ornament, Shatmana was a silver ornament. So Nishka and Shatmana in Vedic age were not coins, they were ornaments, and these ornaments at times were used in big economic transactions. For the first time, coins came into existence in 6th century BC, and these coins were punch-marked coins which were mostly made of silver. There were some copper coins also. If you move further to the next period, in post-Mauryan age, so these terms you have to keep understanding, keep noting down, like Stone Age, followed by Chalcolithic period, followed by Vedic age. And post-Vedic age was 600 BC to 300 BC. Then comes the age of Mauryas or Mauryans, 300 BC to 200 BC generally. Precisely we'll see in the next slide, next part of the class today. Post-Mauryan age means 200 BC to 300 AD. So this period of 500 years is referred as post-Mauryan period. It was a period of Satavahanas, Sangam age. It was a period of Indo-Greeks, Sakas, Kushanas. It was before Gupta period. It was after Mauryan, so it is pre-Gupta or post-Mauryan. Generally, we'll refer it as post-Mauryan age. So in post-Mauryan age, Indo-Greeks issued gold coins. So Indo-Greeks were the first to issue gold coins, or for the first time gold coins in India were issued by Indo-Greeks. Then Kushana, Sakas continued for the maximum number of gold coins were issued by Gupta rulers in Gupta period. That is one of the reasons why Gupta period is often termed as the golden age in Indian history. So this development continued. Initially these were punched. Indo-Greeks started practice of putting name of king, title of king, date, etc. So here the coins were no longer punch marked coins, they were bearing different details, and that is why these coins are a very important source to understand the ancient history or the early Indian history. Punch marked coins. The next issue after coinage, you have to see the Magadhan dynasties, Magadhan Empire. Magadha was the reason. And that is why this Mahajanpada or the empire was referred as Magadhan Empire. In the previous class, we have discussed something about dynasties. Let us have a recall. Haryanka dynasty was the first one. Haryanka dynasty was founded by Bimbisara. Haryanka dynasty was followed by Shishunag dynasty, founded by Shishunag, followed by Nanda dynasty, founded by Mahapadam Nanda, followed by Mauryan dynasty, founded by Chandragupta Maurya, followed by Shunga dynasty, founded by Pushyamitra Shunga, followed by Kanva dynasty, founded by Vasudeva Kanva. Let me give you few more details. So founder of Haryanka dynasty, Bimbisara, Bimbisara. A very powerful king of this dynasty was Ajatashatru. Bimbisara conquered eastern India, Odisha, Bengal region that was termed as Anga region, and he made his son Ajatashatru as the governor of Ang region or Ang Pradesh that time. Ajatashatru also fought against his enemies. He conquered Vaishali area by defeating Lichavis. Shishunag was the founder of Shishunag dynasty. Mahapadam Nand, very powerful ruler. And Mahapadam Nand was the first empire builder in Indian history. He conquered Odisha, Kalinga region known by the name of Kalinga at that time. He was the first empire builder. So he transformed a Mahajanpada into an empire. Then came Chandragupta Maurya. He was the founder of Mauryan dynasty. Pushyamitra Shunga was the founder of Shunga dynasty. Pushyamitra Shunga was the commander-in-chief of last Mauryan king, Brihadratha. He killed the last Mauryan king, Brihadratha, and became the founder of dynasty. And here the founder was Vasudeva Kanava. That is why the name of dynasty was Kanva dynasty. So this dynasty's chronology, if you go little more into the history, Harinkas, before Magadha was Majanpada, there was a dynasty called Brihadarath dynasty. This was in later Vedic age. Now don't get confused between two Brihadarath. Brihadarath was the last Mauryan king that I just said, who was killed by his commander-in-chief Pushyamitra Shunga. But this was different, Brihadarath dynasty. Here, Rajgir of today, Rajagraha of that time, was made capital. So early capital of Magadha was Rajagraha, today's Rajgir in Bihar. This Rajagraha or Rajgir was also known as Vasumati. Vasumati. Because it was established by King Vasu. So Vasumati Rajgraha was the early capital of Magadha. Ajatashatru founded Patliputra city. And later on King Udayan of the same dynasty transferred the capital from Rajagraha to Patliputra, today's Patna. So these important details also you should remember. These are very key informations about Magadhan dynasties. Look at the map here. This was Magadha and nearby was Vaishali. To conquer Vaishali, Ajatashatru fought for 16 years. That information also you should remember here. Ajatashatru fought against Vaishali for 16 years, or Vaishali was being ruled by Lichavi dynasty. Lichavis were very powerful at that time. Ajatashatru fought for 16 years, he could not defeat them. Then Mahatma Buddha was alive that time, so he consulted Buddha, how can I win against Lichavis? So Buddha was not going to advise him precisely for military purposes, so he said the strength of Lichavis lies in their unity. So Lichavis were having 8 families or 8 clans or 8 smaller kingdoms together. Ajatashatru sent his minister Varsaskara, and this minister Varsaskara lived with Lichavis secretly, deceptively, and he sowed the seeds of dissension among Lichavis, or he divided Lichavis. When Lichavis started fighting with each other, Ajatashatru attacked and conquered that. So Ajatashatru could conquer Lichavis through deception, and advice of Buddha played an important role in his success, though indirectly. Chanakya, Chandragupta Maurya, what was the relationship? Chanakya was not his name, actual name was Kautilya. He was known as Chanakya because his father's name was Chanak, so son of Chanak was Chanakya. Kautilya was a professor of political science and economics in Taxila University, and he wrote Arthashastra. So Kautilya was the author of Arthashastra. He was a professor in Taxila University, very unique kind of university, world famous university that time. And here in this university he met Chandragupta Maurya. Kautilya was impressed by the talent of Chandragupta Maurya, and he decided to help Chandragupta in becoming the king of Magadha. So Kautilya and Chandragupta worked together. There is a book called Mudra Rakshasa, written by Vishakha Datta. These are important points of information that you need to remember. you need to note down. Vishakadatta wrote a book, Mudra Raksas. This book, Mudra Raksas, explains the strategies, the mechanizations used by Chanakya and Chandragupta Maurya to overthrow Dhanananda. The last king of Nanda dynasty was Dhanananda. Again, recall from the previous class, Dhanananda was the king of India when Alexander invaded. So they overthrew Dhanananda through a popular revolt, through a mass revolt. And here this mudra means seal. Rakshasa was the name of prime minister of Dhanananda. So Chandragupta Maurya and Kautilya used the royal seal of Rakshas to use Dhanananda's army against Dhanananda itself. They could overthrow, they could defeat him, and Mauryan dynasty came into existence. Chandragupta Maurya was a very powerful ruler. He conquered almost whole of Indian subcontinent. Means from Afghanistan to Karnataka in south, Nepal Valley, Bhutan, Bangladesh, etc. So he was the creator of the biggest empire in entire Indian history. Never thereafter such extensive empire could be re-established. No other empire in entire Indian history after Mauryan age was so big. So Chandragupta Maurya was a great ruler. He was a great conqueror. Mauryan dynasty, as we have just discussed, was founded by Chandragupta Maurya. So founder was Chandragupta Maurya, followed by Bindusara, followed by Ashoka, and the last king, after some more in between, was Brihadratha. Brihadratha was killed by his commander-in-chief Pushyamitra Sunga, and then Sunga dynasty came into existence. Chandragupta Maurya was a great ruler. Bindusara was also very, very powerful. Ashoka is known for his policy of Dhamma, his liberal measures, his welfare policies, his concern for the upbringing of the people. And by the time here Brihadratha was there, Mauryan Empire was weak. So it had degenerated. It declined. Decline was due to internal degeneration or internal weaknesses. Decline was also due to foreign invasions. Indo-Greeks, the Greeks who came to Indian subcontinent, they had started attacking Indian subcontinent or Mauryan Empire, and these invasions also weakened Mauryan Empire. So, commander-in-chief could kill the king and could become the ruler himself. Shunga dynasty came into existence. Mauryan dynasty came to an end. King Ashoka was the greatest ruler in entire Indian history. He is famous for his policy of Dhamma. Dhamma policy or Dhamma Ghosha. One word. Dhamma Ghosha means cultural conquest. So he was spreading his culture, his goodness. He was trying to win the heart of the people, not the body of the people. So that was Dhamma Ghosha, victory through cultural means. Before Ashoka, the policy used to be Bheri Ghosha. Bheri Ghosha means military conquest. Here it was cultural conquest. So Ashoka abandoned Bheri Ghosha, adopted Dhamma Ghosha, and this adoption of Dhamma Ghosha increased soft power, a very important term for your exam, increased soft power or cultural power of Mauryan Empire. Others started respecting Mauryan Empire more. To spread the message of Dhamma, Ashoka appointed Dhamma Mahamatras. So Dhamma Mahamatras was a special class of officers appointed by Ashoka for the spread of the message of Dhamma among the people. Dhamma means ethical moral code of conduct. It was basically a guideline or set of guidelines for the people. How should they live their life? How should they guide themselves? How should they behave with family members, with friends, with relatives, with others, with teachers, with brahmanas, etc. So it was not a religion, it was just ethical moral guidelines. Ashoka initiated a large number of welfare measures. So he constructed roads, planted trees for the well-being of the travelers. Rest houses were built by him. Ashoka also issued a large number of edicts. Edict means royal order, and these edicts are famously known as Ashokan inscriptions. The orders were cut into the surface, so these are inscriptions. So Ashokan edicts or Ashokan inscriptions, the meaning is the same. Edict means the content, inscription is the way of writing or way of cutting into the surface. Ashokan inscriptions have been discovered from all over Indian subcontinent. These inscriptions were in Brahmi script, Brahmi. Brahmi script, so script language I hope you know now, we have discussed in one of the previous classes, and Prakrit language, because Prakrit was a lingua franca, was the most common language in India at that time. So Prakrit language, Brahmi script were used in Ashokan inscriptions. This script was deciphered by one very important person, that name also you should remember. This Brahmi script was deciphered by James Princip. James Princip deciphered this script in 1837, and only because of that, Ashokan inscriptions could be read. Harappan script, the script of Harappan civilization is yet to be deciphered. That is why we do not know anything about Harappan civilization through writing or by way of writing. So this much you should know about Ashoka. Ashoka ruled very successfully. He strengthened the foundation of his empire by using liberal measures. That is why Ashoka is respected. Ashoka is hailed good in whole of the world. This is one example of Ashokan inscription. You can see here the letters, just like F here, have been cut into the surface, like T. You can see this is like lambda here, Brahmi script. This is like plus. So these are the letters of Brahmi script, and this script was deciphered by James Princip, which year? 1837. About the administration of Mauryan Empire, Mauryan age, revenue machinery or elaborate revenue machinery came into existence. Revenue machinery means taxation machinery or mechanism came into existence for the first time during Mauryan age. So Mauryan rulers appointed large number of officers. Some of these officers were known as Tirthas. So Tirthas were the highest, senior most officers. Then came Adhyakshas. Then came Mahamatyas. And last were Amatyas. So this was the hierarchy. Tirthas to Adhyakshas to Mahamatyas to Amatyas. So elaborate revenue mechanism came into existence for the first time. Samaharta was an officer who used to collect the taxes, who used to assess the taxes, and Sannidhata was the treasurer. Sannidhata, treasurer, Samaharta, assessment maker or the collector of taxes. In Mauryan times, taxes were collected from professions. From agriculture, taxes were paid in cash as well as in kind. Kind means crop, goods. So what are the crops peasants were growing? They were paying tax in crops, suppose wheat, barley or rice, etc. That is kind. Taxes were multiple, and because of this elaborate mechanism, Mauryan Empire or the Mauryan state was very powerful. Strong finances are needed to create a powerful state. You need to have army, you need to have bureaucracy, you need to take care of wealthy people, and revenue mechanism is the key to that success. Indo-Greeks, Sakas and Kushanas came to India in post-Mauryan times, as we just discussed here. Indo-Greeks were the first to come. They started attacking India during the last part of Mauryan age. First attack of Indo-Greeks took place in 206 BC. That time Mauryan ruler was Subhag Sen, and he purchased peace, or he bribed the Indo-Greeks by giving them 500 elephants. Now you can connect better how Mauryan Empire was weak after Ashoka. The successors of Ashoka were not strong enough to save the empire from external threat. Indo-Greeks reached up to Punjab. So Afghanistan, Punjab region. The Indo-Greeks were followed by Sakas. Sakas ruled in Gujarat. Sakas ruled in northern Maharashtra. Sakas ruled in Punjab, Afghanistan region also. And one of the Saka ruler of Gujarat, very famous person, very important for exam, was Rudradaman. Rudradaman was a Saka king in 2nd century AD, and he built Sudarshan Lake. In fact, he repaired Sudarshan Lake. Sudarshan Lake is located in Junagadh, Gujarat. Area is known as Saurashtra. Junagadh is a place, and the name of that lake is Sudarshan Lake. This lake was built originally in the times of Chandragupta Maurya. Then it was repaired in the times of Ashoka. Then it was repaired by Rudradaman. And this information about Rudradaman comes from his inscription known as Junagadh rock inscription. Rock because this is cut onto the rock, or Junagadh rock edict. There was one Junagadh inscription of Ashoka also, and there is another Junagadh inscription of Rudradaman also. This Rudradaman inscription is the first inscription in pure Sanskrit language. So earlier Prakrit was used very often, very commonly, but now Sanskrit had started to be used in inscriptions also. Junagadh rock inscription of Rudradaman is the earliest example of the use of pure Sanskrit language in inscription in India. Very important point that you have to remember. And one more thing you need to remember here, that this Sudarshan Lake was repaired later in Gupta period also, Gupta times also, by the governor of Iskandgupta. Sakas were followed by Kushanas. Kushanas ruled up to Mathura region, and Kanishk was the greatest king of this dynasty. He was a great patron of Buddhism. Ashughosh used to live in his court, the author of Buddha Charita. Charak used to live in his court, the author of Charak Samhita, a book of medicine. So Charak, author of Charak Samhita, Ashwaghosha, author of Buddha Charita, they lived in his court. Charak Samhita is a book dealing with medicine branch of medical science, or it is a book based on Ayurveda. Very powerful king, ruled for a long time, And in his times, or from his year of coming to power, 78 AD, starts the Saka Samvat. We discussed in previous class, Saka Samvat is started by Kanishk. What was the impact of this Central Asian contact? Indo-Greeks, Sakas, Kushanas. There was political impact. There was economic impact. And at the same time, there was cultural impact. So all the three dimensions you must understand. Cultural impact was most important. Economic impact was also very, very important. Political impact was less important. So what was the political impact? Mostly on the negative side, contributed to decline of Mauryan Empire. The Mauryan Empire could not succeed against these foreign invaders or Indo-Greeks. Mauryan Empire declined. Contributed to political fragmentation or political division of India. So it was negative. If you look at economic impact, you will find a lot of positives. Indo-Roman trade. Commenced here, in fact, got a massive boost. Sea trade as well as the land routes, Silk route passing through Afghanistan, China to Istanbul of today or Constantinople of that time was the main route. Then we find here inflow of foreign wealth. Lot of Roman gold started moving into India, and Roman writers used to criticize the addiction of Romans to Indian goods because huge amount of Roman gold was moving to India because of this trade. So India benefited immensely in economic field. Cultural impact. These Indo-Greeks bought Yavanika. Yavanika means curtain used in theatres. Then we find here use of long coat was brought by them. We find here they gave patronage to sculpture, art of sculpture. Mathura school of sculpture, Gandhara school of sculpture got a boost. So we got a lot of benefits culturally, lot of benefits economically. Politically also there were some positive sides also. The concept of dual rule, the rule of two persons simultaneously, king and his son, was started by these foreign ruling groups. They brought the concept to India. So these are different dimensions of the impact of India's closer relationship with Central Asia. This relationship developed because of arrival of Indo-Greeks, Sakas and Kushanas. Coins, we have discussed earlier, Indo-Greeks were the first to issue gold coins. So here the coins were having pictures. You can see the picture of the king. You can see some writings also, symbols here. So these were started by Indo-Greeks. The Kushanas issued purest gold coins in entire Indian history. Guptas issued largest number of gold coins. During Kushana period, a new form of pottery came to India, and this is redware. Redware means red color pottery. These are the examples of Kushana period pottery. So pottery also changed under the effect of these foreign relationship. This is a pillar erected by Heliodorus. Heliodorus was ambassador of Greek king in Shunga court. So he was in Shunga period, that is post-Mauryan period. He erected a stone pillar at Vidisa, and Vidisa is also known as Bhilsa in MP. Vidisa at times written as Base Nagar, meaning is that of the same place. So this Vidisa, Bhilsa, Base Nagar pillar was erected by Heliodorus. This is the pillar, and on this pillar there are some writing part here, inscriptions, and in these inscriptions Heliodorus called himself as Bhagavata Bhakta. Bhagavata Bhakta means worshipper of Bhagavat, God, or worshipper of Vishnu or Krishna that time. So Heliodorus erected Vidisa pillar, very important. It's like Ashokan pillars. This name, please, you should remember. Moving to next part of today's class, Satavahanas. Satavahanas ruled in Deccan. Deccan means the northern parts of peninsular India, Maharashtra, parts of Odisha, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh. So they ruled in Deccan. Capital was the same as was the capital of Ashmaka Mahajanpada, Pratisthana or Pathan. Satavahanas are famous in history for promotion of trade or patronage of trade. They promoted trade relationship with Roman Empire. Indo-Roman trade was highly developed. Satavahanas are also famous because they started tradition of land grants. Tradition of land grants was started by Satavahanas. Satavahanas were the first to issue land grant to somebody, and this somebody was Brahmana priest. They issued land grants to Buddhist monks, Buddhist monasteries also. In Satavahana times, we find large number of chaityas and viharas were built. Chaitya was a place of worship. We'll see that more in detail in the next part. Vihara was a place of residence. These were basically caves. Satavahana kings like Hala were great writers. Hala wrote Gatha Saptasati. Gatha means a story. Saptasati means 700. So a story that is having 700 stanzas or paragraphs. Gautami Putra Satkarni was the greatest ruler, and from this name itself you can learn something. Gautami Putra. He was son of Gautami. So it means Satavahanas used to follow matrilineal social system. The name of mother was attached to the name of the son. Patrilineal means the name of father is attached to the name of the son. So here they followed matrilineal system. Mother's name was attached to the name of the son, here name of the king. So that was a unique part of Satavahana. Satavahanas were in the period of post-Mauryan age. So somewhere around 200 BC to 300 AD, precisely 225 BC to 225 AD, that was the period here. Indo-Roman trade was promoted by Satavahanas, and example is discovery of Roman settlements. Roman settlements have been found in peninsular India and at Mujiris, Cranganore of today. At the same place, a temple of Augustus, Roman god, was also discovered during excavations. Large number of Roman coins, Roman potteries have been discovered It means sea route was the most common route of trade between India and the Roman world, and Satavahan rulers promoted, patronized this trade relationship because it was beneficial to India. It was resulting in the inflow of huge wealth to India at that time. Now something about Chaityas and Viharas. Chaityas and Viharas both were caves. These caves were cut into hills. Chaitya was a cave used for worship. So Chaitya was a place of worship. Vihara was a place that was, or Vihara was a cave that was used for residence, or Vihara was a place of residence of monks. And here these monks or the monks used to impart learning also. So Vihara was also seat of learning. These monks used to impart learning or education to disciples in Viharas. Very important part. This is one example. Karli in Maharashtra. This is Chaitya. This is cut into hill. It's a cave. It is most beautiful cave or most beautiful Chaitya in whole of India, cut in entire Indian history. Karli Chaitya. These are the pillars cut out of the rock itself, out of the hill itself. This is a kind of a stupa cut into the cave, and this stupa was worshipped. So in a cave, if you have a stupa, it means it is Chaitya. If you don't have a stupa, it means this is a Vihara. Moving to the last part of today's class, Sangam age kingdoms. Sangam age was discussed in one of the previous classes. Somewhere between 300 BC to 300 AD was the period. We do not know precisely. Sangam here refers to assembly of poets. So assembly of poets took place. 3 such assemblies took place. Assembly were the meetings for composition of Tamil literature, and that is why we say Sangam age, because this age is known or is characterized by this Tamil literature composed here. In Sangam age, there were 3 main kingdoms: Cholas, Cheras on the western side, and Pandyas. Pandya capital was Madurai, and this Madurai was the place where Sangams were held. Chola capital was initially Urayur. Urayur was famous for cotton trade. Later on, capital was shifted to Kaveri Pattinam. Chola rulers were most powerful among all these 3. Chola king Ellara conquered Sri Lanka in 2nd century BC. Chola king Karikala conquered Sri Lanka in 2nd century AD. And that Karikala, the name you should remember, Ellara and Karikala. So first was Ellara and then Karikala. Karikala was very powerful. He brought 12,000 prisoners of war from Sri Lanka. Those prisoners of war were used by him to build the new capital on the banks of river Kaveri with the name Kaveri Pattinam. Cheras were ruling on west coast. Capital was Vanji. They were famous for their naval power. Cholas were also famous for their naval power. So these 3 kingdoms were there in south during Sangam age: Cheras, Pandyas, and here Cholas. This is Sangam age political system. So revise these points what we have discussed today. Focus on understanding the concepts, linking the dots so that you can remember things easily. Read chapters, underline important points, and then when you come back again second time, note down those points in separate sheet. Integrate over the points that we are covering in class with the notes you make from NCERTs and combine together. That will be the best kind of study material to read for civil services foundation building. So keep learning, keep revising. If you have any difficulty anywhere, always feel free to contact me through teacher support, and I'm always here to help you. So keep moving ahead. All the best. God bless you.